Big E has been told to never wrestle again, and WWE have pitched a new role. We've got an update on multiple injured WWE stars, and a new faction has debuted on SmackDown. Stay tuned for the news. I think for the past year and a half, the majority of people, not the majority, everyone has wanted to see Big E get back in the ring at some point. I know we've mentioned it multiple times where we've been like, oh, you know, hopefully once he's got over this injury, he'll get back in the ring and everything will be back to normal. The world will be healed once again. But Big E has been doing the rounds for media for SummerSlam, which is tonight. It's a big weekend, Sam. There's a lot of wrestling.
There's a lot of wrestling, content.
We're going to make sure that you get all the content you need. We'll pitch all that stuff to you later. But Big E was talking for SummerSlam ahead of tonight's show and revealed that some of his doctors have recommended that he never wrestles again. To quote him, he said, "I talked to spine specialists, people who have worked on other people in the company and done their fusions, and they said, hey, I would not wrestle again if I were you." This is not good news.
No, it's just sad, really, isn't it? You know, things like this can happen, you know, just a freak accident, a freak split second, and then, you know, you have a talent there that has a long career still ahead of them that is no longer even being recommended to step between the ropes. And it's just sad. It's just really sad, especially when it's somebody as impactful as Big E.
He's one of the sort of, impactful is a good word. He's like the one, he revolutionized the tag team division with the New Day going for the past 7 odd years. Obviously he had his WWE Championship run in September 2021 going into the new year of 2022. I don't feel he was best utilized in that sense.
No, but I think that doesn't take away from the fact that, you know, everything he's done with the New Day, getting over sort of the Big E Langston character and being able to reinvent himself as, you know, just the Big E we all know and love now. And just being, you know, that power of positivity that he literally is as a human being. And I think it's just sad, isn't it?
It is sad to see, but obviously in the current era, right, we've seen multiple people come back from neck injuries. Obviously, we don't know the extent of Big E's and how bad it is. We know that in the past, people have been told not to wrestle again.
It's been told that, you know, it's a very serious injury at the time, and when we were reporting on it, it was, you know, one of those things where it looked like it could go either way. So unfortunately, it appears to have gone the other way. But at the same time, if it's not all of his doctors telling him it, if it's just, you know, the majority of the doctors, as weird as it is to say, then there is hope. Because
there is,
as you've said yourself, people have come back from serious neck and spinal injuries before, and have been able to kind of take the time and go through new or progressive surgeries or treatments that allow them to, you know, regain the ability to get back in the ring and get cleared. So fingers crossed that one day, we'll get Big E back in that capacity.
He did say in the same media rounds that he was feeling great, but that doesn't mean anything in terms of what his doctors are clearing him, but it doesn't mean it's possibly the end of the road for him in WWE.
No.
He also spoke about what other roles have been pitched to him within the company, revealing that he and the company have discussed the idea of him becoming a color commentator.
Which just, I mean, if we're not going to get Big E back in the ring, that's the best place he can be. Like, I just give me it now. Give me it now.
It would be so much fun. We know he's done little bits on commentary in the past where he's sort of been guesting during a rivalry, sitting at ringside, but he is a lot of fun on comms. Hopefully, and if WWE go, look, we don't want to put you back in the ring because of that risk, they'll go, we're going to put you at ringside and you're going to be, I think, potentially one of the best commentators.
I think he's going to be a revelation. I think he's going to be an absolute revelation. Once he kind of gels and it becomes a week-by-week thing, if it is indeed something he does, I can't see any downside.
He can see one downside, and it's the fact that he thinks he'd struggle to hold a pee in for the entire duration of a pay-per-view or a show.
Jim Ross has given this advice before on his podcast. You wear black pants.
Well, the advice that Becky Lynch has suggested to him is a catheter or a pee bucket.
You can get the clip-on ones. I had a friend once that got drunk, had one, and he had it attached to his leg, and we were like, no, you don't. And he wrapped it up, and it was like, you're a disgrace.
That is a disgrace. Yeah. Well, going from Big E, moving over to Randy Orton just now. Reports from earlier in this week suggested that Randy Orton was in Detroit ahead of tonight's WWE SummerSlam. In an update from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, while Orton is in Detroit for the show, those close to him have said that he is nowhere near medically cleared to return at this point. Of course, this doesn't rule out an appearance on the show, just kind of rules out him getting physical.
He's gonna make an appearance on the show, and he's gonna debut his new faction, the Insane Clown Posse. That's what he's going to do.
You've heard it here
You're
first.
in Detroit. What else came from Detroit musically? Nothing. ICP.
Nothing
That's
came
what we
from
want.
Detroit.
Whoop, whoop.
I
Get
think
some Fago on the go.
This isn't what we want to happen. This is not what we want to happen. I do think there's a chance, though, it could be him and Grayson Waller on the show, doing a little back and forth there. My other option for Grayson Waller, though, is The Rock, and I think it could happen. So you've heard it here first. But I think more likely, if Randy Orton's in Detroit and they've said that they want to have a legend spot for Grayson Waller, Randy Orton fits that bill.
Yeah, Randy's a living legend. Randy's also able to just go on the mic. If you hand him it, I'm pretty sure he could talk for an hour.
Exactly. So I'm excited to see what he potentially does, but he is not medically cleared to return to the ring.
Yeah.
We're sticking with the medical stories just now because we've got another update. We've got an update on Bray Wyatt's health. What's the news, Sam?
So, despite fan speculation that he could be returning at SummerSlam, Bray Wyatt's return has been shut down by a report from PW Insider, who said that SummerSlam return's unlikely and that there's been no indication internally that a Bray Wyatt return is happening at SummerSlam. They also noted that WWE's been very, very careful with Wyatt's health, and he won't make a return until he's cleared of his current health issues. So whatever's going on seems to be quite serious in the way that the company really needs that clean bill of health. And I think, that's best for everybody in this case. It's just a shame that we had Bray do The Fiend. We had that kind of build and then fizzle out. And then Bray leaves and then Bray comes back and we get the big enigmatic build and then things don't quite land right. And then this. And I feel like if Bray's going to be away for a while, it's sort of potentially, while it's a bad thing, it's potentially going to be a good thing in the way that it's going to just give enough space, I think, for Bray to come back again, because it's going to be two returns, almost back to back.
Yeah, it just feels weird because it seems like it wasn't really connecting with the crowd, the stuff that he was doing before, and yet they need to maybe do something new. But I'm worried that they also need to have good storyline for him to return, not just his good health.
Yeah.
And it's obviously his health is the priority there, but it doesn't look like we're getting anything from Bray anytime soon.
At the same time, it's one of those things where if it's for the best of his health, then we just gotta lump it, right?
Exactly. That is the priority. But so it's Bray Wyatt not returning at SummerSlam. It's a big night of SummerSlam action, but it's not the only show that's on tonight, because AEW Collision is going head to head with WWE SummerSlam. And CM Punk has actually addressed that. Speaking with Sports Illustrated about it, he said that AEW Collision is not competing with SummerSlam, but rather it's competing with itself. He elaborated and said that we're competing with what we did last Saturday. I am competing with who I was yesterday as a human being and a pro wrestler, and we as the Collision team are competing with what we did last Saturday. Collision is on a bad night for television. I knew it was going to be an uphill battle, but we absolutely loved the challenge, and I think we've outdone ourselves so far. But yeah, they're going head to head. He's defending the title or the real world championship against Ricky Starks, going up against Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. Yeah,
I think it's the right attitude to have looking at it, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to stop people comparing the two, even though they are two very different things. You have a weekly episodic product like a Raw SmackDown up against what is essentially a super show. So it's kind of it's always going to draw those comparisons the same way that soaps draw comparisons, like Emmerdale versus Coronation Street versus EastEnders. There's always people who are kind of like, this one's the best,
big rivalry,
and they're not sitting there going, well, we're competing with ourselves. They all want to win the soap awards, don't they?
They do.
So it's kind of, I think, while it's the best attitude to have, it's not going to stop people comparing. And I think that all they can really do is keep their heads down, dig their heels in, and put on the best show they can put on, because the thing is, at the end of the day, people are likely going to come back to it if they are wanting to watch SummerSlam live. There is going to be an audience that, while it's not live, they'll be there in the +3s and +7s. They're going to be there, giving them ratings in the long term anyway. So I think it's one of those things where, so long as they produce a good show, people are still going to come back to check it out, especially if there's maybe a big hook or a big surprise or something shocking that happens.
A big hook.
I'm kind of thinking about doing a split screen tonight,
Yeah, you think so? Yeah, going not jumping between the channels.
Get in my NWO shirt.
Yeah.
Get some sunglasses
Just
on.
Stitch it up the middle like Seth Rollins did. So a WWE shirt on one
yes.
side and AEW on the other. That's what you need to be doing. But we're going to stick with AEW just a second here because Cody Rhodes has commented on his AEW exit. Speaking with GQ Sports, Cody Rhodes has revealed that leaving AEW to join WWE was the easiest thing he ever did, and said that he left the company he helped found over a personal issue and he wasn't going through, over, or around it. He finished by saying, I mean it not in a negative way. Like, I was happy to burn rubber and speed out, but it just wasn't a decision that was difficult for me at all. Obviously, there's been a lot of speculation recently about certain AEW contracts, but Cody Rhodes just given a little, because he recently on his documentary spoke a lot about his time in AEW.
I think the days of just ignoring things and pretending they're not there are coming to an end, thankfully, because it's kind of a disservice to the audience. But you can hide it when somebody's coming in from the other side of the world. It's a bit easier to hide than, hey, they're just on the other channel.
They're literally on the other channel. Like, it's so easy.
It's they kind of have to address the fact that there is another company there. They haven't really shied away from it, whether it's been positive or negative. They've always tried to kind of do it recently. So I don't think it's surprising, but at the same time, I think that it's pretty interesting to hear Cody say that the decision wasn't really that impactful for him. He was just sort of going with his gut on it.
But at the same time, that's maybe the best way to do it. And just at the end of the day, it's a job. You've got to do what's best for you.
You can't really live life with regrets, can you? You've got to kind of try and avoid all that.
One thing that won't be a regret is the Street Profits joining up with Bobby Lashley, because after being teased for a couple of weeks now, we finally saw the debut of Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits' new faction. The Street Profits attacked the OC and the Brawling Brutes towards the end of their match, causing a double DQ. They then beat them down, like literally every member of the match.
Pete Dunne got
beat down.
Pete Dunne jumped on, I think, Dawkins' back and was just trying to lay it in. It was just like, double team. They are over. They posed at the top of the ramp in their dashing, wonderful suits.
Cool suits.
And then out walked Bobby, and the crowd went wild for them.
Right, and it felt like it was meant to be a heel turn. But no. They were over.
I'm well into this. I'm really excited to see where it's going to go. I think that you've got some really creative people involved here in the Street Profits. I think that this is like ground floor, and this is only going to get bigger and bigger, and the faction's hopefully going to grow a bit more. And I've always been, I don't know if it's just a symptom of being a 90s kid, but I've always been into like faction-based warfare, right?
I love a good faction. And we've seen a lot of factions recently in WWE. They're the hot trend at the moment. I'm hoping that this one sticks the landing, continues this momentum. They did seem really, really cool walking up this. They were but they were in like their suits, but it was all sweaty and torn down, and then they just got all dressed up again.
Just back into their fitted gear.
But it is SummerSlam tonight. Maybe we'll see this new faction that currently does not have a name appear on SummerSlam. Who knows? The world is their oyster, and the Bobby
business.
The Bobby business. There you go. But there's a lot of SummerSlam content coming at you over the next couple of hours. We'll have more news later on today. You've got the podcast from last night, which I'm sure they discussed SummerSlam at some point. At length.
We've got predictions. We've got everything.
Pitches. Reactions tonight. Make sure you tune in reactions on youtube.com/Cultaholic/live. We got there in the end. We will see you later on.